Where will we be in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? I've been pondering this question for quite a while now, and seeing the amount of debt that most Americans are in, seeing the inflation rates, right? Seeing living conditions being more and more unaffordable, seeing so many, lower class and middle class families being pushed out of where they used to be able to live simply because everything is getting more expensive. Most people, they go to school, they work a job for 40 to 45 years, they get to be age 65, and as a reward for that, they're able to spend the last 11, 13, maybe 15 years of their life with their family and loved ones. Most of, the people in our world, we're all just another cog in the machine, another cog in the system, right? But maybe you want to be that sort of person that is able to spend time with your family whenever they want. Maybe you're the type of person that wants to wake up without an alarm clock, where you're able to choose your own hours, where you're ultimately getting paid for your value and not your time. And you don't feel like you're just answering to another repetitive boss telling you, pretty much dictating you, on everything that you do from the moment you wake up to pretty much when you're almost going to bed. See, back when I was at Vanderbilt University, I really had two paths that I could go down, right? I could, in my sophomore year, go down the investment banking and the consulting route, right? Which would have been quite lucrative, right? I probably could have made my first $1 million by, the age 30, age 35. Maybe I could ascend into a partner, right? But that was a lot of maybes, right? I would come out of college earning above $120,000, $140,000 per year, but with what sacrifice, right? Working 70, 80, 100-hour work weeks just to get a paycheck, right? Now, on the other hand, I could go the entrepreneurship route, right? I could go the route where I'm choosing my own path, where I'm deciding to learn a skill like remote triaging, like sales, where I'm able to get paid for my value and not my time. And that's ultimately what I had to decide in university. Was I going to go the safe, job route, or was I going to go on this other path, right? And, I certainly wasn't always the confident, extroverted kid who, has now traveled to 25 different countries, right? Who sold over $5.3 million worth of stuff online, right? And certainly I didn't have a network of friends, business partners, and acquaintances worth over $100 million. That wasn't always the case, right? And most importantly, I also didn't have students like Andrea, like Caitlin, like Amanda, like Steve, like Christian, right? Like Matt, like Frederick, like all of these students inside of our Modern SDR program that have gained financial freedom. They're able to, quit their 9-to-5 jobs. They're able to see their family more, right? And ultimately live a life of real freedom. I wasn't always this person. See, back in 2012, when I had a stutter, I could barely say my own name. I couldn't, even talk to girls. I was so unconfident. I, had a lot of internal traumas that I had to address, right? I was quite introverted. I was skinny. I didn't, really even believe I was worth, success, right? I didn't believe in myself, and over this time, right, I realized that there was simply one skill that if I learned this skill, right, it was going to bring me confidence. It was going to bring me, more income, more money, right? And it was going to bring me a life of real freedom. It just took me a little bit to actually get there. So what happened after 2012? Well, in 2015, I started working as a lifeguard at my local Jewish community center. I made about $10 an hour. It was, to say the least, not, the most fun job, right? I hated being at the pool, right? It was hot, wake up at like 5 a.m., deal with the mosquitoes. Then you have to watch the kids. And most of the time it's really boring, right? Being a lifeguard is not the most interesting thing, right? And for a whole month of work, I would come home after the government takes, 25% of my paycheck, right, to get about $1,100 to, $1,200 from 160 hours of work, right? I was trading 160 hours of my life every single month, right, for a measly paycheck that wasn't enough to really do anything or have any sort of fun or even live a life of real freedom, right? Then at some point I decided, okay, this was enough, right? I started school at Vanderbilt University in 2017. In 2018, I had continued kind of like my YouTube channel, right? Throughout this time, I was, perusing in cryptocurrencies. I was, doing stock trading. I was doing all these different things, right? But in 2018, I stumbled upon social media marketing, right? I started hitting, my first $1,000 a month in my social media marketing agency, which was freaking awesome, right? I really enjoyed that, right? But it was still only $1,000 a month. Now, at the time, what I realized the skill I didn't have, well, I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know how to take strangers who didn't know me and convert them into customers paying me cold hard cash over the phone. So in that year, in those 12 months from 2018 to 2019, what changed? Well, I finally started to learn how to sell over the phone and on Zoom, right? Using the skill set of remote triaging, which is what I was talking about back in, 2012, right? The skill of remote triaging and online sales to ultimately, really start blowing up that social media marketing agency. And then from there, 2021, I hit my first $15,000. It was about 16 grand in a single day, right? Which was pretty cool. Then scaled that to $200,000 a month, later that year, right? And now in 2024, I've sold over $5.3 million online. And it was all because I decided to learn this one skill of remote triaging. And it's also why, we have over 839 plus students inside of our modern SDR community, all on their journey to, either leave their 9-to-5s, make more money, right? Maybe they're already in sales and they want to expand their skill sets, right? Or move fully remote, right? All on their journey towards creating a life of real freedom. So how can you actually start on this path as well? How can you actually start learning remote triaging and online sales here today? Well, if you would like to, work with myself or our team here at the Modern SDR, a little bit more closely, you can always head over to the description and you can book in a time to speak with us. There's going to be another short training that you can watch that's going to break down exactly, how this skill works, how you can start tapping in, right? But if you also want to stick around for this video, I'm also going to break that down for you as well. So what is step number one? Well, step number one is actually learning the skill set of sales, right? Now, what do all sales stem from? Well, it stems from genuine human, right? It stems from truly understanding someone on a deep level. And how do you do that? Well, it starts with the questions that you ask. The more skilled, right, you are at asking good questions, the more you listen to a prospect and you understand them, right, the more you're ultimately going to be able to diagnose any problem that they have, right, and ultimately convert that person into a sale. Now, what happens once you learn this skill set of sales? How do you actually start making money? Because that's going to be obviously the next step. Well, step number two is actually finding an online business owner to work with. Now, generally, you want to find something like a business online, right? Maybe they're selling a fitness coaching program. Maybe they're teaching people how to, drop ship. Maybe they're teaching people a new language, right? There's so many different, categories of businesses and types of courses online that you can ultimately help sell. So what are kind of these qualifications? Well, you can actually start going on social media, on whether it's Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, whatever it may be, and you want to find someone that has an audience online, right? Because without eyeballs, there's not really anyone that you're going to be able to monetize anyways. So if you find someone that has a high ticket digital product, think of $5,000, $10,000, right? You just want to reach out to those business owners, maybe even send them like a nice video message, right? That's normally what we suggest, to our students to actually do, right? So you'll reach out, send them a video message. And the best part, right, is that if you're selling a $5,000, $10,000 product. Well, the average commission, right, for a remote triager, someone in this online space, is about 10 to 20%. So even 10% commission, right, on a $10,000 sale, that's $1,000 in your pocket just for taking a 45-minute phone call, right? So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good, way, right, where you're not trading time for money, but you're trading value, right, for dollars in your pocket. And then what is step number 3, right? Well, it's actually getting onboarded. It's starting to work with that business and, essentially scaling up your skills. It's continuing to improve every day. It's continuing to run, drills, to continue training, right? It's continue to, show up to meetings with the team, right? And continue providing as much value as possible, right? So what are the 3 steps? You have to learn, how to ask skilled questions, how to listen, how to actually develop real emotional intelligence, right? Step number 2 is you have to find a business you can reach out, right? If they're selling a $10,000 package, you help them sell 10% commission. That's $1,000 in your pocket, right? And then step number 3 is to continue improving your skill sets, right? Continue to improve each and every day, right? Master the skills of, asking great discovery questions, right? Figuring out a prospect desired situation, right? Figuring out, how to handle objections. And then from there, once you diagnose that problem, right, enrolling them into the product or service that you're actually providing, right? And all in all, this is ultimately what can bring you a life of real freedom. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope this video gave you some really good insight into where we're going to be over the next, few years, where you want to be, right? Are you going to continue going down the same path, staying in the same situation that you have been, for the last 2 years, the last 5 years, the last 10 years? Or are you going to take action? Or are you going to take that first step, right, to live a life of real freedom where you can spend time with your kids, your family, your loved ones, right? Where you're paid for your value and not your time. And ultimately where you're able to choose your own hours, right? Choose your own schedule, where you don't have to answer to a boss anymore. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Share with a friend, leave a like, leave a comment, drop some feedback. If you guys like these sorts of videos, I always love to hear your comments and your feedback, right? And once again, if you do want to work with myself, Kekoa, as well as, our other coaches here inside the Modern SDR, if you want to join our other students here inside the Modern SDR, then just tap the link in the description down below. You can book any time to speak with either myself or our team, and we'll walk you through exactly how to get started. Have a great day.